Imagine spending months hunting a killer, only to discover that the person closest to the investigation has been hiding something from you. And tonight, Alice Black is about to learn that the truth can be more dangerous than the killer herself. The episode begins late at night. A lonely road. No traffic, no witnesses. And inside a parked car, Danny is staring at a phone. On the screen is a message from an unknown number. It contains only 3 words. She knows everything. Danny freezes, because he knows exactly who she means, Alice. For several seconds, he doesn't move. Then another message arrives. This one contains a photograph. It's Catherine, but she's not alone. Standing beside her is someone Danny recognizes, someone who should have absolutely nothing to do with Catherine. Danny immediately deletes the messages, but it's already too late. Someone has been watching him. And somewhere in the darkness, a figure is sitting inside another vehicle, watching, waiting. Meanwhile, Alice is awake in her apartment. She hasn't slept properly in days. Her investigation into Catherine has consumed almost every part of her life. Photos cover the walls. Names, addresses, bank records, victims, connections. And right in the center is Catherine. Alice looks at the photograph. Then she notices something strange. One of the victims had been connected to Catherine years before anyone realized it. Alice circles the name. Her breathing becomes heavier, because this means Catherine's pattern may be much older than they thought. But before Alice can investigate further, her phone rings. It's Danny. Alice answers immediately. "Where are you?" Danny hesitates. That hesitation tells Alice everything. Something is wrong. Danny finally says he needs to see her. Not at the office, not at the station. Somewhere private. Alice asks why. Danny simply replies, "Because there's something you need to know." And that is where the episode takes its first major turn. Alice meets Danny in an empty parking garage. The place is almost completely dark. Danny looks exhausted. Alice immediately realizes he's scared. She asks him what happened. Danny doesn't answer. Instead, he gives her a file. Alice opens it. Inside are photographs, financial records, and surveillance images. And then she sees it. Catherine, meeting with a man connected to one of the investigation's earliest victims. But the meeting happened years before Catherine was ever suspected. Alice looks at Danny. "How long have you had this?" Danny says nothing. Alice asks again. "How long?" Finally, Danny admits it. He has known about the file for weeks. Alice's expression changes. She realizes Danny didn't just discover this. He deliberately kept it from her. And that betrayal hits harder than the evidence. Alice asks why. Danny says he was trying to protect her. But Alice doesn't believe him. She tells him that protecting her isn't his decision. Then Danny drops the real bombshell. The file wasn't discovered through the FBI. It came from inside Catherine's network. Someone close to Catherine has been feeding them information. Someone who wants Catherine exposed. But there's a problem. Nobody knows who that person is. And if Catherine discovers their identity, they won't survive. Alice looks back at the photograph. For the first time, she realizes something terrifying. Catherine may not be working alone. And suddenly, the entire investigation looks different. Alice begins following the new information. She studies Catherine's movements, the old financial records, the mysterious meetings, the people who disappeared from Catherine's life. And slowly, a pattern emerges. Every time Catherine entered a new city, someone connected to her previous life disappeared. Not always physically. Sometimes they simply vanished. New names, new identities, new lives. Alice realizes Catherine has been reinventing herself for years. But why? What is she running from? And more importantly, who taught her how to disappear? Alice finds an old address. She drives there alone. The building looks abandoned, but someone has recently been inside. The door isn't locked. Alice enters. The apartment is empty. Almost. On the wall is a collection of photographs. Dozens of them. Men, women, families, victims, and people Alice has never seen before. At the center of the wall is a photograph of Alice herself, taken only days earlier. Alice freezes. Someone has been watching her. Then she hears footsteps. She draws her weapon. Who's there? Nothing. Another sound. Closer. Alice moves through the hallway. She opens a door. Nobody. But on the floor is an envelope. Her name is written on it. Alice opens it. Inside is a handwritten message. "You are looking in the wrong direction." Alice looks around. Then her phone rings. It's Catherine. Alice doesn't answer. The phone stops. Then rings again. Alice answers. Catherine says, "You found the photographs." Alice asks how she knows. Catherine laughs quietly. Then she says something that makes Alice's blood run cold. "You always arrive after the truth has already left." The call ends. Alice stands completely still. Because Catherine isn't guessing. She knows exactly where Alice is. Alice rushes back to the office. She confronts Danny. She demands to know whether Catherine has access to FBI information. Danny says they don't know. Alice doesn't accept that answer. She asks him who else knew about the investigation. Danny names several people. Then Alice notices something. One name isn't on the list. Someone who had access to the case from the beginning. Someone who knew about the surveillance. Someone who could have leaked information. Alice begins to suspect there's a mole inside the investigation. But before she can act, the lights suddenly go out. The entire building goes dark. Emergency alarms begin ringing. People start shouting. Alice reaches for her weapon. Then the power returns. Everything looks normal, except one computer. A single screen is still active. On it is a video. Alice presses play. It's Catherine, sitting calmly in a dark room. She looks directly into the camera. And then she says, "You keep asking who I am." A pause. "You should be asking who made me." The video ends. Alice stares at the screen. Because now the case is no longer about Catherine's victims. It's about Catherine's past. And someone doesn't want Alice to discover it.
Alice goes deeper. She begins investigating Catherine's earliest known identity. The records are incomplete. Names don't match, dates don't make sense. Some documents have been erased, others have been altered. But Alice finally discovers a name, a woman connected to Catherine's childhood, a woman who disappeared years ago. Alice tracks her down, and when she arrives at the woman's house, the woman is waiting. She already knows why Alice is there. The woman tells Alice that Catherine wasn't always a killer. She was once a frightened young woman, trapped inside a world controlled by powerful people. People who used vulnerable women. People who treated human beings like possessions. Catherine learned very early that trust could be dangerous, so she stopped trusting anyone. But that doesn't excuse what she became. The woman tells Alice something else. Catherine doesn't choose her victims randomly. She chooses men who remind her of the people who once controlled her life. Alice realizes Catherine has convinced herself that every murder is a form of justice. But there is something even darker. Catherine has begun expanding her definition of guilty, and now almost anyone can become a target, including people who have never harmed her. Alice suddenly understands. Catherine isn't simply trying to escape justice, she's creating her own version of it. Then the woman reveals the final piece. Years ago, Catherine trusted someone, a man. He promised to help her escape. Instead, he betrayed her. That betrayal became the moment that changed Catherine forever. Alice asks for his name. The woman hesitates, then finally gives it. Alice recognizes the name immediately. It's connected to someone currently involved in the investigation, someone she has been trusting, someone who has been helping them. Alice's face goes pale. She calls Danny. No answer. She calls again. Nothing. Alice realizes Danny may be in danger. She rushes to his apartment. The door is open. Inside, everything is destroyed. Furniture overturned. Documents scattered. Blood on the floor. But Danny is gone. Alice searches the apartment. Then she sees something on the wall. A photograph. Catherine. And beside her, Danny. Alice realizes the photograph from the beginning wasn't just evidence. It was a warning. Danny knew Catherine. Or at least, Catherine knew Danny. And now Alice understands why he was afraid. Suddenly, Alice's phone vibrates. A message. One location. No explanation. She goes. And when she arrives, she finds Danny tied to a chair. Alive. Barely conscious. And standing behind him is Catherine. Alice raises her weapon. Catherine doesn't move. She simply says, "You finally came." Alice tells her to step away from Danny. Catherine smiles. Then she asks Alice one question. "Do you really think you're here to save him?" Alice hesitates. Catherine continues. "Or are you here because you need answers?" Silence. Then Catherine reveals something Alice never expected. Danny wasn't protecting Alice from Catherine. He was protecting Catherine from Alice, because Danny knew that if Alice discovered the entire truth, she would never stop. Not until everyone involved was destroyed. Alice looks at Danny. Danny cannot look her in the eyes. And that is the moment Alice realizes he has been hiding far more than one secret. Catherine finally explains why she brought Alice there. She doesn't want to kill Danny. She wants Alice to hear the truth. Catherine tells Alice that the people behind the original operation were never punished. Some are dead, some disappeared, and some are still powerful, still protected, still hiding behind respectable names.
Catherine claims she has spent years hunting them, but Alice doesn't believe her. She tells Catherine that murder isn't justice. Catherine replies, "Neither is forgetting." That line changes the mood completely. For the first time, Alice sees something unexpected. Catherine isn't asking for forgiveness. She's asking to be understood. But Alice refuses. She tells Catherine that people who decide who deserves to live eventually become exactly what they hate. Catherine smiles sadly. Maybe I already became that. Then suddenly, the lights go out. A gunshot echoes through the building. Alice drops to the floor. Danny screams. When the emergency lights return, Catherine is gone. But Danny has been shot. Alice rushes to him. He's alive. Barely. And beside him is a final envelope. Alice opens it. Inside is a photograph. Not of Catherine. Not of Danny. It's a photograph of Alice, taken years earlier. Alice stares at it. She doesn't understand. Then she turns it over. There is a date written on the back. A date from before Alice ever joined the FBI. And underneath it, a single sentence. You were chosen too. Alice's face changes. Because now she realizes something terrifying. Maybe Catherine wasn't the beginning of the story. Maybe Catherine was only one piece of something much bigger. The episode cuts to Catherine. She's sitting alone inside a moving car. Her face is calm. She opens a small box. Inside are photographs of everyone connected to the investigation. Danny, Alice, the victims, and several people we have never seen before. Catherine removes Alice's photograph. She looks at it. Then she burns it. But before the photograph disappears completely, we see another photograph underneath. It's someone else. Someone who may be the real person behind everything. The screen cuts to black. And one final sentence appears. The truth was never buried. It was waiting. And that's where episode 7 ends. So what does this ending actually mean? The biggest revelation is that Catherine may not be the ultimate mastermind. She may have been operating inside a much larger system. That changes the entire story. Until now, we believed Alice was hunting Catherine, but the ending suggests Alice herself may have been part of the larger mystery long before she realized it. Danny's secret also becomes much more important. He wasn't simply hiding evidence. He may have been trying to prevent Alice from discovering something that could completely destroy her understanding of the case. And Catherine? She may be dangerous, but she may also know the truth that Alice desperately needs. That's what makes the final confrontation so interesting. Alice believes justice means stopping Catherine. Catherine believes justice means exposing the people who created the system. Neither woman is completely right, and neither woman is completely wrong. That's the gray area where Furious becomes much more than a simple crime story. Because the real question isn't, who is the killer? It's, who created the killer? And if the person responsible is still out there, then Alice's biggest investigation may only be beginning. The next chapter could change everything. Because when the hunter discovers that she was part of the mystery all along, there's nowhere left to hide. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to the channel for more suspenseful movie and series explanations. And remember, sometimes the most dangerous secret isn't the one someone is hiding from you. It's the one you've been hiding from yourself.